please stand and join us.
People look east, the time is near of the crowning of the year. Make your house fair as you are able. Trim the hearth and set the table. People look east and sing today. Love, the guest is on the way. Furrows, be glad, the earth is bare. One more seed is planted there. Give up your strength, the seed to nourish, that of course the flower may flourish. People look east and sing today. Love, the rose is on the way. Stars keep the watch when night is dim. One more light the bowl shall brim, shining beyond the frosty weather, bright as sun and moon together. People look east and sing today. Love, the star is on the way. Angels announce on this great feast him who cometh from the east. Set every peak and valley humming with the word, the Christ is coming. People look east and sing today. Love, the Christ is on the way. Love, the Christ is on the way. It came upon a midnight clear, that glorious song of old, from angels bending near the earth to touch their harps of gold. Peace on the earth, goodwill to all, from heaven's all gracious King. The world in solemn stillness lay to hear the angels sing. Still through the cloven skies they come, with peaceful wings unfurled, and still their heavenly music floats o'er all the weary world. Above its sad and lonely plains, we bend on hovering wing, and ever o'er its babble sounds which blessed angels sing. For lo, the days are hastening on, by prophets' hearts foretold, when with the ever-circling years comes round the age of gold, when peace shall over all the earth its aged splendors fling, and e'er the world send back the song which now the angels sing.
Good morning. In the beginning was the one presence of the undivided and unmanifest pure spirit of life, light, and love. In its generosity, it shared itself, its consciousness, its love in the visible form of creation. We acknowledge this presence within us and as us. The creative energy of the divine feminine and masculine expressing in all our giftedness and creativity. We acknowledge this in our companion, Mother Earth, and all sentient beings. This universal presence in everything we call the Christ. We light this candle as a visible reminder of the Christ presence expressing in, as, and through us in this present moment. It is the truth. Let us own it. Welcome. We're here, and it's not snowing, which is a nice thing. It's not raining. It's a little cool, but we're here, and what a beautiful thing. So I want to welcome you all to Unity of Bellingham, and we're going to have a great service today. Love, love, love is the theme, so can't you smile with that one? Yeah, so let's take a few moments to greet one another, and don't forget to wave to those that are watching online. We appreciate you as well. So let's take a moment to greet one another. That was a nice, quiet, welcoming time. Normally it's a little more raucous, huh? Yeah. How about a wahoo or something? Yeah. Woo! All right, here we go. That's right. Okay, we're going to do our 5 principles together. And actually, before I do, well, let's go ahead and do that. I think what I'll do is I'll just express who we are first. And so I think that's important to do, to just that groundwork to establish that. We are a joyful, evolving spiritual community, committed to spiritual practices, compassionate service, and living on purpose. This is our mission, and let us own it. So we're thankful for that. And our music today is with Mr. JP Falcon Grady, so we want to welcome him. And accompanying will be Marcia and friends. Yeah, yeah. Okay. Let's see. So next are 5 principles. Let's get centered as we prepare to say this. So go ahead and take a nice, deep, just slow, deep breath. And together, let's say, God is good and present in all things. The holiness of God is my own true nature. I am creating my experiences by how I think. My thinking is guided by my daily affirmative prayers and affirmative actions. I follow and am sustained by these values in every way, every day. And so it is. And next we'll have our meditation hymn, Away in the Manger. Let us first join in prayer. Today I open my heart and mind to the spiritual power of love. I am a radiant expression of divine love, a brilliant stream of infinite possibility. This love beams from me, and I feel the harmony as I express unconditional love for others. Each day is an opportunity to love. I look for places and people I can silently bless. Let us take this moment to bless those in our life that would benefit from kind, loving, supporting words of hope and well-being. And if you want, say their name out loud. We, as a spiritual community, hold the highest blessing for each individual mentioned. Affirm that within each day, you can say, I choose to send blessings of love. I use my wisdom. I know where to focus my prayers, my love, and positivity. I look for the uplifting examples of loving kindness that abound in this world, and I say thank you. When I choose to keep my mind focused on unconditional love as the greatest power in my life, I create and experience amazing possibilities. So it is. Amen. Now I invite you to go a little bit deeper as we begin meditation into a time of peaceful, restful meditation. Breathe in. Meditation is for rejuvenation of body and mind, a time to relax into a closer walk with Source Divine. Take a few slow, deep breaths. As you continue to follow your breath, feel peace unfolding and expanding within. As the days of December march on, we're progressing through Advent, a time for self-reflection. For these moments, we will explore our true nature, love. To feel love, to be love, to share love. Breathe in. Love is centered in the body around your heart center, the center of love in you. Love is the language of the heart. As you breathe in for several cycles, imagine a pink glow expanding from your heart, which with each breath in, the glow of love expands. For a moment longer, feel the glow of love expand within and around you. Recognize this feeling as spiritual oneness that infuses everything in the universe. It is love that enables us to live in harmony with ourselves and with all others. Feel the love that is you. You are love. Choose to be in harmony first with yourself. Worthy and ready as a beacon of love and light. Breathe in. To hold Source Divine in your heart is to experience infinite love. Infinite love. Affirm to yourself, I choose love. I choose to feel love. I choose to be a beacon of love in my life. Infinite love illuminates every cell in your body. Love guides the way. Love is your inner guidance. Love is your guidance, the still small voice. As we progress through Advent, take moments to feel love expanding within. Call back the pink glow. Next, choose how you wish to first love yourself and then be a beacon of love in your life. Infinite love is with you, within you expressed as spiritual oneness with all that is. And so it is. Amen.
Have yourself a merry little Christmas. Let your heart be light. From now on, our troubles will be out of sight. make the Yuletide gay. From now on, our troubles will be miles away. Here we are as in olden days, happy golden days of yore. Faithful friends who are dear to us, gather near to us once more. Through the years, we all will be together, if the fates allow. Hang a shining star above the highest bough, and have yourself a merry little Christmas now. Here we are as in olden days, happy golden days of yore. Faithful friends who are dear to us, gather near to us once more. Through the years, we all will be together, if the fate allow. Hang a shining star above the highest bough, and have yourself a merry little Christmas now.
Well, that gets you in the mood. This makes me think I got one child coming home this week and two next week, and Christmas time and homecoming, and very beautiful. Thank you. So today is the third week of Advent, and the topic, if you will, the key word is love. Before we get to love, though, which is interesting, let's go ahead and light the others. And just a reminder that the first week of Advent was faith. And if you remember, if you were here, and we've been talking about this, the thing about faith is the opposite of faith isn't doubt or anything like that. Sometimes it helps to understand what we're thinking about when we think of the opposites. And the opposite of faith is when we see the truth in the invisible world, in the non-physical, in the truth that underlies this material realm, the truth that aligns with our spiritual side, so that we can see a reality and trust that reality and live into that reality of what's invisible, what isn't just sitting right here in front of us that we can taste and touch and feel. And there's a certain kind of truth that we get in that place where we know, we have a certain knowing. It's when we see with the eye that's behind the eye, when we hear with the ear that's behind the ear, when we go to the heart that's behind the heart, when we know another truth, we know we can sit in the reality of the material world, but then we also know there's this other reality with a capital R of our truth, of our deeper truth, of our eternal truth, of our infinite truth, of the all truth. And we can trust in that, and we know that truth, and we resonate with it, and we harmonize with it, and we move forward in that. That's faith. And, a lot of times, well, that doesn't make sense. I mean, I can tell, I can see right here that what you're saying is just, that's not going to work. It's not true. But we know something beyond the limitation of the real small r, real world, material world, and we see something that's even more. And so we live into that greater vision that we can access. How do we access it? Well, we access it mostly, my experience is we access it in the silence. And how many times have we prayed and we've gone to the silence and we stop and we pause and we connect and we harmonize and we say, I need to know, I need a download, I need to know the next step. And there's a certainty. You go, I know what to do. I just know it. I just sat in the silence and I got this hit and I know what I need to do, but that doesn't make sense. It's like, it's not about sense in this way. It's about a certain knowing that's beyond this knowing that says, I have faith that this is going to work out. I can stand in principle that may be confusing to just the material plane, but there's principles that overcome the limitations of the sense world that live into the spiritual world, that other side of our reality, and we stand in both reality. We stand in this truth of both we're material and we're eternal, and we stand in that both, and we have that eternal knowledge. And with faith, we can stand in that zone. So the opposite of faith is misperception. We're just not seeing it right. There's another way, a fuller way of seeing it. The opposite of faith is misperception. So it's a matter of perceiving. And then last week we went over the idea of peace. And we talked about this sense of peace is, the opposite of peace is not necessarily war, or that comes out of the opposite of peace, but it's a sense of like I'm disconnected. I want to connect with another person. And when I can't find my way to connect, then there's not peace. And connection, though, like a lot of these things, is not always so easy. And we talked about peace doesn't always feel like, I feel really peaceful. I may not, but I feel connected. And in that connection, it overcomes any discomfort, because in the connection, now the synapses have connected and something's going to happen. We're going to move forward, and there's something new that it can involve, and the possibilities start opening, and new things can happen because we're connected. And we start with connection with our own internal self, with our connection of how we're connecting with our truth, with our higher self, with the divinity that is being downloaded and always available to us. How we connected to that? How are we as a community? How are we connected with that higher eternal truth that we want to connect with? Connection. The opposite of peace is being disconnected, and we want to connect. We want to connect. So this week is love. And I just a note that in Advent, you can see this is kind of an arc, right? We're moving towards something. We had faith, and then we had peace, and then we had today love, and it's all moving to this one, all based on the Christ candle, of course. And the final one is joy. And I think it's good to remember on the fourth Sunday of Advent, this is all going to something that's like, yes, joy. Because sometimes peace feels like, I'm at peace, and it's hard. And I want to say something about love, is love also can be a bit challenging. So I want to talk about love today. First, I tell you a story. So I'm thinking about love, and what am I going to say? And love, that's not hard, right? There's so much about love. But when we get into love and start thinking about 20 minutes, love in 20 minutes, Capture that one, if you will. And what really makes sense, and what makes sense along this arc of the Advent wreath. And so, it's things like this happen all the time. So I'm going out for a run as I do. I put in sometimes a podcast. And so I put in this one it's a great podcast called Philosophize This. To which now you're even saying, wow, Reverend Frank, that's really cool. Share with me this podcast called Philosophize This. I'd love to read about ancient philosophers. It's great. Or you're thinking, Reverend Frank, you are a real nerd, man. You run around listening to podcasts about old philosophers. But it's kind of fun, So I stuck in this one about it, and it had like 300 podcasts over the last 10 years. And it said, this is one about the great Frankfurt School. I said, what the heck is that? Well, I'll listen to that one. So I put it on, and they said, one of the great writers of the Frankfurt School was a guy that came from 1950s called Erich Fromm, who wrote a book called The Art of Loving in the 1950s. And so I'm starting to run and going, of course a podcast is going to come on and tell me about a book about love. Of course. This is how it happens. Why should I be surprised? I'm not surprised. I'm delighted. But it happens over and over and over. So I listen to Erich Fromm, and I hear this thing about the art of loving, and I get home and I go, well, also I want to talk about the 12 powers, because love is one of the 12 powers. So I go to my friend Linda Martell at Whitsitt, and she wrote this book called Divine Audacity, and it's about the 12 powers. And many of you know Linda. She was on a call. We had a class with her, one of her books. So I go to her book about divine audacity, and I go to the power of love, and the first thing she has is a quote from Erich Fromm. Of course she does. This is how it works. I shouldn't be surprised, but I am delighted. So I think I'll tell you a little bit about the art of loving. And I'll kind of jump to the end here. I was a little frustrated, I have to say. As good as that book was, it left me like, and? So I have to give you my sources. I finish, and what I want to talk about was this book, Whatever Arises, Love That. You know it, a lot of you nodding. Matt Kahn. I've been to hear Matt Kahn. I've talked to Matt Kahn, read Matt Kahn stuff. He's someone I want to introduce us to this year. He's brilliant, current contemporary spiritual speaker and teacher, and really a guy who's connected, and he's nice to get his teachings. But let me start with this piece from Erich Fromm, because the big part of where I want to go on this arc today on love is to start with him. And he talks a lot about, now I say as if I've read the book. I listened to a podcast, but I did go back and look up some of this stuff on some. I saw him in an interview with Mike Wallace before 60 Minutes. He's all over the old, I love YouTube. You can see him from the 1950s. He was quite popular. And he talked about, in our market society, we've made love sort of a commodity. I want love, I want to be loving, if I'm more loving, then people will, that'll be attractive and people will like me. And it's almost like this piece that's engaging. But he says, in the same way, just like we talk about peace, it's not just about I want to feel peace, although we do, and that's fine. But like Jesus said, I want to be a peacemaker. It's an action, it's a verb. Even in faith, when we talked about faith, it's like we want to have faith as if it's a noun. But we talked about faithing, being faith people, living into that place of I am going to see beyond the illusion, and I'm going to live into that consciousness and that connection and not be confused by the vision of what I don't see. We're going to live into faith. We're going to be faithers, and we're going to be peacemakers. In the same way, we want to be these people who love. It's like it could be a feeling, and there's a lot of feeling. In the end, I think one of the arcs is what we get in the feeling in the end when we connect in love and deeper in love, and we become these people who are alive to be loving and be lovers and be people who do the act of being loving the other people and loving the world and loving ourselves. The end goal is kind of we connect into joy. We finally, the big download, the fourth Sunday is this. It is joy, and we're getting there. But I want to talk a little deeper about, Erich Fromm and what he says is the pathway to love. And the first thing he says is, so you want to, and let me just preface this, it's kind of like art. It's the art of loving. And you think about an artist, it's like, let's say you're a painter. And you love to do watercolor, for example. And you walk out, and someone else is walking by, you're in a park, and here's a here's an old bench in the park, and one of the legs is wobbly, and it's kind of fallen over, and the wood is kind of broken, and it's just, and there's these trees behind it, and you're just like, oh, that's an old bench, and that's just, kind of a crummy. Maybe the park should replace that bench. What's wrong with that bench? But the artist sees it and goes, oh, let me paint that. And captures the leaves behind it, and captures how it's leaning, and imagines how many thousands of people have sit on that bench, and people sat and watched the kids play, and were out for a walk and watched and took their dogs, and just imagine all this, and then titled the art, a life of service well lived with this old beat up bench. The artist sees beyond what the initial look. It doesn't just see, oh, there's a broken bench. Sees beyond that into something that's actually has deeper meaning, has truth, has a history, has it unfolding, and shows up in a very, in the artist's mind, a beautiful way. And all of a sudden, where before you walk through the park and went, that's a junky old piece of bench. I don't fix that bench. And what's wrong with the park department? Why don't they fix the benches? All of a sudden, now you've got a painting on your wall, a life well served, and you're going, that's the most beautiful bench I've ever seen in my life, right? That's what the artist does. That's what the artist does. And you might even think, ask the musicians, but he's saying, like, an example is for all the musicians, like somebody's outside, the garbage truck's over there, and all of a sudden kids are playing basketball, ba-boom, 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 and some of like blowing leaves, and maybe you're going, it's so noisy out here, it's like a cacophony of sound. And is it possible that with tuning in as an artist, you might hear, you hear a rhythm. It's because we turn into that side of us that's a little more, that listens with a new way of listening, with the artist's way of listening, and a practiced way of, am I right about this? I just go, okay, yeah, good. I'm just making this. That's what Eric Fromm says, and the artists are all agreeing with me, so that's good. We hear it different, And because as an artist, and we're all artists, It's not like, oh, those artists over there. Everybody in here is an artist of some sort. If you walk out into your garage and go, I am going to make my garage most perfect garage, everything's going to be in a place, I'm going to hang things on a thing, and walk out, and all of a sudden the garage just sparkles with every box in its right place, and order, divine order, and every... Okay, some people are looking at each other like, yeah, that's an art. And some of us aren't artists at cleaning our garages. We're all artists. And so we know that sense. And not only being an artist does it change the way that we perceive things, but in the change in the perception of way we see things, it changes us. It's very cyclical. As artists, we change the way we look at things, and then the influence of those things changes us. And we walk in the world in a different way as an artist. And Eric Fromm says, be an artist of love. Let love be your art. So what does it take? What does it take to make love an art? There's a lot of people walk around and say, yeah, I'm in love, I know love, I love this person, I love. But if we want to be just like with peacemakers, if we want to be people who create love environments, if we want to be people on purpose for love, if we, and it's a calling, if we really want to show up as love, then he gives 4 steps. The first one is humility. He says, if we want to show up as love, let's just acknowledge, let's be very humble about how challenging that might be to really love in all cases, in all things, to be love, to be love, to be love, to show up as love. When I was a kid, I think this was my mom, but she used to tell me all these stories about Francis of Assisi. And I used to read books of Francis. And I've talked about Francis lots of times. Always a big influence in my life. This simple guy, Francis of Assisi. And there's one story where he had this conversion experience. And sometimes I think of a lot like if you know the story of Siddhartha and the Buddha, where the family kept that kept him isolated, didn't want him to see death and didn't want him to see the difficult things in life. And when he finally got away and saw all these things, it was like, whoa, what is this? What is this transition in his life? And this sense of life moves on and that there's difficult things, and he didn't know anything about it. And his conversion, his awakening, his becoming the fullness of who he could be, meant he needed to go out and deal with the facts of this transitory nature of life and this fullness, and that there's sickness and eventually there's death. And he needed to deal with that. And Francis, very much the same way, was very isolated. And there was a time they used to say, whenever he'd see, and this is, the 1300s, and he'd see a person with leprosy. And he would just like, it would just scare him, because what is that? I don't understand it. And that's very disturbing. And people are really suffering with leprosy. And so he would run away. And after his conversion, one of the very first things that happened to him, when he had this opening, this awakening, this touch of spirit that changed him from this guy living up in a castle to like this person we know. One of the first things that happened to him is he came out, he was on the road, and here came a person who had leprosy. And at the time, we understand that disease a lot better now, of course, but at the time, the Middle Ages, it frightened him, and he didn't know what to make of it. And he used to run away and petrified in fear. But this energy that said, I'm not that person anymore. I am not going to be seeing that we're separate. I'm going to see that we're in unity. That the diversity that says you're that and I'm this, and I can somehow think, and this is an illusion, that we're really different, will break down. And he saw the unity of their person. And so the story goes, he walked up and he hugged this leper and kissed him on the cheek. And it was this beautiful, freeing moment. I grew up with that story, right? Because wouldn't you do that too? And then I was in South America, and I had a summer where I was involved with a project with children, and then I had like 2 months off. And so I looked around, and I'd heard about all these different people who were doing interesting things up in the Andes and doing different things in the inner cities. And I was following around looking for different teachers, trying to understand what they were doing, trying to understand more like different kind of paths that I'd want to include in my life. And I just was curious, and I wanted to know. So I found these priests who are working in this I guess you would call like a slum. It was called La Lucha, which means in Spanish, it means the struggle. They named their community the struggle. And it was a lot of houses that you can imagine. I went with the guy and goes, well, what we do on Tuesdays is we just go out in the community and we knock on doors and we say hello and we know these people and they expect us and we just check up on them and we see what kind of needs they have and what we can do to serve them, and we just go out. And if you do nothing else but go and sit down and chat with somebody, that's great. It's just a connection time. We're trying to connect. So he walks in and goes, but since you're here for the day and you're going to be here with me for a couple weeks, we'll split up. We'll talk to more people. So you can go into this house, and I'm going to go down here. And so just sit down and have a chat. And he goes, oh, and by the way, the person has leprosy, so just so you know, and walked away. And the gentleman came to the house. Now, I want to say this sensitively because I actually have friends with Hansen's disease. I've known this now in my life in a very different way. It's 2023. We have public health. We know a lot more. But at that time in my life, what I had was visions of Francis in the Middle Ages. And it's a tough disease. The extremities start sometimes to shrink, and so people like start losing their fingers, their hands, and their toes, and even the septum of the nose will sometimes shrink back, and people's nose will come back, and their face and their lips will go up, and it's a tough illness. It can be very disfiguring for people. It's tough. And also, I went in and I met this person, and he was so glad to see me. Now imagine this room in La Lucha. No electricity as far as I can see. No refrigerator, no running water. I didn't see a sink. And it was very well kept, and there was a little cot over in the corner, and there was one little table, and he was so happy, and he kind of had a crutch, and he helped me over, and he had me sit down, and he pulled out a soda. And I noticed he just had a few sodas and a couple cans of other things. He didn't have much. That can of soda had to have been incredibly precious to him. La Lucha, it's a place of the struggle. And it was obvious how much poverty this gentleman was living in. And I was like trying to be very kind, but I had never actually been face to face with someone who was suffering from Hansen's disease, from leprosy before. And it's, at first, I mean, I'll admit, I was like, whoa, it was okay. This sort of shocking to me. And so he got the can, and he took his, it was hard to do because he didn't really have the fingers. And finally he opened it. And so he said to me, and up there he had a few glasses. Again, I didn't see any running water or soap or anything. I didn't see a bathroom. It was just like a small box house with corrugated roof. And he pours a can of the soda for me. And I realized that was pretty precious for him because he didn't have much. And he didn't have any fingers, and he walked up and goes, "Here you go." So, okay, lots of things went through my mind at that point. It's like, and probably in the span of like 1 second, all these things went through my mind. Is that glass clean? How do you catch leprosy? What is the situation here? What happens if I drink that? What happens if I don't? Will I offend this person? I want to love this person. I want to be here. I just came in to have a chat with him. Maybe I'm not really thirsty. I don't need that. There's no ice with that. That drink's probably pretty hot. I don't need to do that. Why would I drink that? But I should. But he gave me this gift, and how would I not? What would you do? Just think about that for a second. This is your situation. This person coming up with this disease you don't really understand, that's very disfiguring. You don't know how it passes on, and they're just walking up and they're giving you this drink that they just poured from a cup you don't know where it came from, and no running water and no soap. Here you go. What do you do? Just think about that for a second. What do you do? The art of loving. Oh, I just love to love people. Yeah, we say that. And what does that mean? Really, what does that mean in different kinds of circumstances? And, you think about a circumstance like that, and maybe for some of you, go, that's no problem. I just, whatever, I just drink it or something. Maybe for some of you, that wasn't my first impression when I was there. I'll just admit it. I know a lot more I do now about Hansen's disease. By the way, it's very difficult. Most people are immune, very difficult. You have to be exposed. Your immune system has to be shot, and there's treatment. I know all that now. I didn't know that then. Okay, so humility. Let's admit that we come out and go, yeah, we talked about love, and I'm just on fire to be on love. It's not always so easy to do the actions that are loving because we get caught up with this as I heard this quote, and it's the topic of the title, we get that love is seeing the unity under the illusion of separateness. I'll say that again. Love is when we see the unity under the illusion of separateness. Sri Nisargadatta Maharaj said that. I heard that quote, and Wayne Dyer used to always quote the guy, so I said, he must be a good guy. I don't know him really well, but like the quote. And so the second part that Fromm says that we do is first we admit our humility is that we need to have a little courage. We need to say, loving people, really, really, really loving people, requires courage in ourselves to say, we can step up, and I know I can do this, and I can have some fortitude to say, I am going to try to love, and then I'm going to try to love, and it may be difficult, it certainly might be, no, there will come a time where it's really difficult to love another, or another situation, or another person, and yet, do we have the courage to say, I am committed to this path, and I will do it? And then, the third part is our friend faith. Trusting that despite what seems like, how could I possibly love that situation? How could I possibly love that person? Having faith that on this spectrum, and we already talked about this, that it doesn't seem like that's the right thing to do to love person. That person, I shouldn't love him. I should go and, take care of him. Take him out, Redemptive violence. I know how to solve this. That same old stuff. But faith says there is a way to bring redemption and transformation and uplifting to other people and other situations, despite what the challenges might seem to the end, you know? And then the final part is being a practitioner, sticking with it. Like a person who plays guitar. It's like you try the notes, right? I say guitar because I've tried that. And you have to say, I have faith because I heard that person play that it is possible to play that song. And so I'm going to try, and 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 eventually I will get it. But I got to know that despite the appearance of like, I can't do it, that I can, that we can. So here's the ending of Erich Fromm. And here's the challenge to me about this art of loving. For me, I'll just say, is I ran up to that point and said, but what's more, how do I go past even beyond that? I mean, is it really all up to just me? I mean, here's the part. This was from a scientific perspective. And what's the payout at the end? And this is where I had to take a leap into unity. And I had to take a leap into the spiritual path and say, in all this stuff, and you say, have the discipline, have the courage, keep trying, have the faith. In the end, I know that I am going to keep, my nose keep bouncing up against the door. But the thing that finally opens the door is when I kind of figure out it's not just about me, but it is the Christ of me, acting in me and through me that takes this journey on to its successful end. And I don't know, maybe I didn't read the book. Maybe Erich Fromm does get there eventually, but I didn't. I keep hearing that in a very scientific way. And then I read this stuff from Matt Kahn. He says, you just get to a point where you go, I'm not going to fight with anyone who insists on fighting with me. I'm going to acknowledge anyone who fights is only fighting for the grace of their own loving attention. And I'm going to freely give loving attention to whoever calls out for it, whether appearing as jumbled emotions in my body, a noisy mind of endless thoughts, or the relentless behaviors of people I encounter. I am going to continue loving despite that. And even though it seems if I'm speaking to other characters in a play, the truth of all that is, whatever I say to another is a love letter, and I'm going to send it to every single heart. Knowing this, I relinquish desire or tendency to fight, to negotiate, or even defend myself. I'm just going to keep returning to love, returning to love, returning to love. Oh, and we could talk about 1,000. I talk about this issue when I met this person, and that seems, that's pretty much a struggle. But it's the same struggle as how do I end up loving that neighbor who's driving me crazy with the thing they're doing next door? And how do I love that family member who every time I get with them, the same issue comes up and it drives me? And how do I love that people in our political system and family and friends and stuff over and over? How do I do it? And it starts with loving who? Ourselves. And so here's the key I want to leave you with is this practice of being an artist. Because if you want to practice, I kept saying, well, Eric, what exactly is it I'm practicing? Do I go out every day and look around and knock on doors and find a place to love? Do I have to keep looking for challenges? Do I have to keep saying, hey, do something to make me mad so I can love you? Come on. How do I practice? I mean, I know how to practice my art. You get out your thing, you painting, you just go down to your art studio, you got your Cricut, you do, whatever it is you do. We know how to do that. How do I practice, and stay with it, the art of loving? And I start because I can do it every day and all the time by loving myself. And not only loving myself, but allowing the fact that the very divine essence, the very flow of the divine, the very source energy of all is flowing in me all the time and saying, yes, love yourself. Did you mess up? I did. Okay, I'm sorry. Now love myself. Did I do that right? No, I messed it up again. Okay. Love yourself. Doesn't mean to be naive about the fact that we're human and we're moving along and we're trying. But it's this chance over and over and over and over again to say, whatever comes up in my life, whatever it is, I just had a very difficult time with this person. Yeah, well, love yourself. I responded to someone. I wasn't really happy with how I responded to them. I could have responded better. Right, you could have. Now love yourself. I thought I was going to do this by now. I'm this age, and I should have completed this thing. It's like, yeah, maybe, I don't know, but love yourself. Love yourself. The way we can start to be the artists of love is to start to love ourselves. And in reality, when we get to that practice where we're loving ourselves, guess what happens? We start loving others, and we start giving each other a break. Once we start giving ourselves a break, we start giving each other a break. Once we come to peace with our own foibles, we start relaxing on other people's. Once we get to understand the challenges of life, once we look at some really questions and go, should I have drank in that? I mean, what was that situation? What should I have done? Love yourself. Life has all these tricky questions. Life brings up, Jonathan likes to say, oh, you think you're spiritual? Great, try this one. I love that. And here comes another one. And what do? You practice. You practice. Oh, I painted that picture. Well, that one's no good. Let me try again. Well, that one's, now they're getting better. Now they're getting better. Oh, I'm doing better. It really takes the art of loving, of being out in the world of love, takes a lot of practice. And the place to practice, the palette to practice, the music studio to practice in, the art studio, the garage, that place where you do your art, start in our own hearts. Start right here. And whatever it is that comes up, whatever, love ourselves. No need to sit there late at night and just go, oh, you won't believe what I did today. I'm crazy. I'm such an idiot. You wouldn't believe. Well, maybe you made a mistake. True. I mean, I'm not saying don't deny it. But still, love ourselves. I think the hardest people we are is we're on ourselves. And how do we do that? Remember, I am the very essence, the divine energy, the source energy, infinite energy, divine Christ essence is working in, as, and through each of us. We are that. We are called to that. We are called to be this beautiful divine Christ essence to the world. And we smush that down and we keep it out. The opposite of love is separateness. You want to be loved? It's back into unity, including the unity of the divine essence in our own self. Okay, so to end, might just think of a time, it's something that's keeping you up at night because you're beating yourself up. Something that is disturbing us because we just feel like, oh, I just can't get it right. Something that's so disturbing us, and whatever arises in your field of consciousness, whatever that is, just love that. Work through it, sure, but stay in the field of love. This is what the Christ energy, the divine energy, the source energy in us allows us to do. Stay in that energy of love. And then come back to the situation and say, here you go. Have a drink, It's amazing. Yeah, we can do that. Okay? Thanks.
Oh, here at Unity, we get to play and practice our faith, our love, our joy. What a great playground we have here. Enjoy. This is our time for our offering. And so if you take your offering to your heart, and we include those online as well. I give freely and joyfully, for God is my source, and I have abundance in all areas of my life. And our blessing, offertory blessing together. Divine love through me blesses and multiplies all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. And so it is.
I'll smile for everyone. My love I give for free. have a simple plan. Do the right thing every day, and I'll see it through. Sing a song as I go my way. I do this all the time. So you can be. I'll smile for everyone. My love I give for free. High fives all around the world. I will prove what love can bring. Complete compassion, well, some never feel. To them it's so unreal. Open your heart and you will see smiling's free. It don't cost a dime. It takes, a very little time. I'll smile for everyone. My love I give for free. High fives all around the world. I'll prove what love can bring. High fives, high fives. I'll prove what love. I will prove what love. I will prove what love can bring. I'll smile for everyone. This love I give for free. High fives all around the world. And I will prove what love can bring. I'll prove what love can bring.
Wow, and so we bless these gifts with so much gratitude, and may they go forward to bless the ministry and the mission of Unity of Bellingham for unity, which is love worldwide, and for peace on earth. And so it is, amen. You know, I heard JP warming up. That wasn't the song he practiced, so how appropriate. I know, I love that. He goes, yeah, I'm catching the drift here. Let me do this song. It's so perfect. So, hey, so a few, some fun announcements. The second Sunday is typically Earth Care Week, and the Earth Care group, we talked about grabbing some boots and whatever we need, and we're going to take a quick walk with Jim down below, because part of our understanding, especially from the vision of loving the world and loving Earth Care and being and loving the earth and being in unity with our full environment, and this understanding that if this is our inner sanctuary, this is our outer sanctuary, and it is part of our sacred space that we invite in every Sunday, all the time in the ministry of Unity of Bellingham, is this beautiful sacred space. So we want to incorporate that more into who we are and our understanding of who we are. So some of us are going to take, and it's going to be pretty quick, because the other announcement is we have a board meeting. Yeah, we moved it up because it's usually fourth Sunday, but that's like Christmas, so we're not going to do it then. So for those of us who are on the board and also Earth Care, we're going to, right afterwards, we're going to go take a walk. If other people want to stay down even longer, that's fine. But Jim and I will be coming back quicker for the board meeting. And by the way, Sunny put together this beautiful wreath for us. So thank you. I think Sunny's here. Where is she? Oh, there you are. Thank you, Sunny. And this original Advent wreath, this piece is up here, Janae put together. And we also had last week, we had Melin's Advent wreath. Melin, where are you? Did you pick it up? It's around here somewhere. Okay, we'll find it. It's the one with the doves. And we'll put it, and by next week, we'll have everything out, and you can see all the creativity that people did to create these different kind of environmental pieces for Advent. So thank you to everyone who's done that. By the way, there's a lot of people involved with Christmas Eve, because there's a number of people for the Christmas Eve service, and so just a reminder, once again, we're not meeting Christmas morning. We're doing a Christmas Eve thing, and that's it. So Christmas Day, the doors will be locked and nobody will be here. But come Christmas Eve, and there's so many people that are going to be involved. You know, it's really good. Like, if you have family in town or friends or whatever, and it's 4:00 on Christmas Eve. So invite as many people as you can and want, and it'll be a very festive day. It's going to be fun. You know, this is something, and I think George and Jana, I think next week are going to, after service, talk a little bit more about this. But I just want to make a note about nonprofits, because I don't know if you folks know, but I mean, most people do know this, but we tithe as an organization. Not only do the members tithe to the greater unity of Bellingham, the community, but then as Unity of Bellingham, we also support, you know, Silent Unity and Unity Worldwide, and also every month we pick a nonprofit to support. So, and some of the ones we've supported have included like Whale Research, the homeless place that I work for, the Feeding Center, Lydia's Plate, Habitat, Interfaith. Every month we do support a different nonprofit. So today at the board meeting, we're going to just go ahead and talk about all 12 nonprofits we're going to support in 2023. And ideally we'll put up a little plaque or something. So every month you will know who we are holding in prayer, who we're holding in our hearts, and who we're going to support with a little bit of funding for a nonprofit for that month. So a lot of the people on the board have some great ideas. If you have a project that you know of and you go, like, you know, I would love Unity to support, you know, 1 month that project, then please see a board member today, like right after service, because we're going to, like, there's Jonathan or Jim or, you know, who else around, and because we're going to talk about that right after service, and we're going to pick our nonprofit. So that would be fun to do that. Oh, by the way, the Jazz Center of Bellingham practices here on Thursday nights, I think it is. Thursday nights, yeah. And they've got like one group here, and they got a piano, electric guitar, and I know Ross is part of it, and he's got a drum set out in the hall, and people are upstairs. I mean, this is really cool. I sometimes work late and just kind of listen to them warming up. Just their warm-ups are fun. They're like, la, 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 just, and they're like, you know. Anyhow, they're doing a concert here Monday, and it's for their families and friends, and they said, and since we're here at Unity, anybody at Unity, you want to come to a free concert? Monday, 7 o'clock. Right here, Jazz Center of Bellingham is meeting here. And so as a Christmas treat, a lot of announcements, sorry. This Friday, we're doing the Christmas Carol, the movie. We're going to lower the screen. We're going to have the movie. And of course, we previewed lots of Christmas carols to find the best one we could show. And the one that won is the Muppets Christmas Carol. At least that was my vote. So it's good for the kids. And we might talk a little bit about the whole metaphysical meaning of not Muppets, but the Christmas Carol, Dickens. It's about Dickens, not about Kermit. And finally, today's chaplain would be Helga, who can meet up here. No, she can't, because I think she's doing the bake sale. Well, we may have to skip chaplains today, because you're back here. Yep, okay. So that's the other one, is that you can buy baked goods from Helga and talk to her while you're back there. 2 for 1. So the Women of Unity are hosting a bake sale right in our library/chapel reading room, and whatever else people have called it, and bake sale room right over here, right after service. So get your Christmas goodies for the bake sale. I think I can get everything. Okay, that's it. Yeah.
Okay. We're at the end of our service, and we're going to say together our prayer for protection, and we do include everyone, everywhere. The light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us, and the presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well. And let's see, let's stand and
We
make
have one
a
more
circle.
song.
Oh, one more
Yeah.
song. I'm sorry. One more song.
Stand anyway. You're welcome to stand. And then we'll sing Go Tell It on the Mountain, and then circle up and we'll do I Choose Love. Let's see. Go tell it on the mountain, over the hills and everywhere. Go tell it on the mountain that Jesus Christ is born. While shepherds kept their watching, or silent flocks by night, behold, throughout the heavens there shone a holy light. Go tell it on the mountains, over the hills and everywhere. Go tell it on the mountains that Jesus Christ is born. The shepherds feared and trembled when low above the earth rang out the angel chorus that hailed the Christ child's birth. Go tell it on the mountain, over the hills and everywhere. Go tell it on the mountain that Jesus Christ is born. Down in a lowly manger, the humble Christ was born, a gift to all creation, that blessed Christmas morn. Go tell it on the mountain, over the hills and everywhere. Go tell it on the mountain that Jesus Christ is born, that Jesus Christ is born, that Jesus Christ is born. Woo! Okay, let's make a big circle.
Just enough fun.
Peace in my life is growing because I choose love. Love's always present, it's what I'm made of. I choose love. We are a part of each other. We are one. One tie that binds us that can't be undone. I choose love. I choose love. Peace in my family is growing because I choose love. Let love be present, it's what we're made of. I choose love. We are a part of each other. We are one. One loving family, sharing one son. I choose love. I choose love. Peace for our planet is growing because I choose love. Let love be present, it's what we're made of. I choose love. We are a part of each other. Jesus, let this be the one.